A few days ago, CNBC's Rick Santelli predicted the interest rates on the 10-year bond could conceivably jump to 14%, up from today's already ruinous 5%. If that happens, we could see something a lot bigger than the 2008 crisis. Here's Rick.
The worst case scenario, where Treasury rate's going to go 10-year, I'd say in the next 7 years, you should be able to see 13.5%, 14%. Yes.
Now, if you don't know Rick Santelli, he's one of the strongest voices on CNBC. He's probably most famous for an epic 2009 rant, the rant heard around the world, tearing a new one in the corrupted, incompetent federal government that was busy bailing out everybody on their Rolodex, much like today, in fact. That rant met with spontaneous applause on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and was credited with launching the Tea Party, which begat Donald Trump. Back to the other night, Rick said he thinks rates are going a lot higher because federal spending is out of control. To the point, it is only a matter of time till the bond vigilantes ride again, meaning private bond investors who get nervous about inflation or the government's enthusiasm about repaying their debts. This makes the vigilantes demand higher rates to buy Washington's confetti. Note, Rick is not saying 13% or 14% is guaranteed. He's not even saying it's likely. And he's talking the next 7 years, not next Tuesday. But he thinks if nothing changes in Washington, that is the path we are on. Now, the 10-year bond matters because not only are there $6 trillion of them, the 10-year is taken as a benchmark for the cost of capital across the entire business cycle. This is because 10 years covers every stage of a typical business cycle, the boom, the bust, the in-between. If you're in a boom, that means it measures all the way to the next boom. If you're in a bust, all the way to the next bust. That makes the 10-year a perfect proxy for generalized cost of capital, which then feeds into other rates, from corporate borrowing to mortgages to credit cards. So what happens if rates on the 10-year do go to double digit? Well, the last time that happened was the late 1970s, when they almost kissed 16% on the 10-year and stayed in double digits for about 6 years. It was a fairly rough stretch. Mortgages went past 18%. Unemployment almost hit 11% as companies faced extortionate costs of borrowing. And suddenly gold went up sixfold during that period. Silver went up sevenfold. We can only imagine what Bitcoin might do. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained. What's next is double digit on the 10-year is still a worst case scenario in the near term. The key question at this point is, are we in store for another 2008, meaning a banking crisis paired with a deep recession, or are we in the stagflationary 1970s once again? Or dare we dream, has Washington managed to deliver both a 2008 banking crisis and a 1970s stagflation? A dystopian hat trick they have not managed since FDR pulled it off in the 1930s. If so, everything is on the table. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.